What is up, everybody? Hello, welcome back to another live. How are you guys doing tonight? So, hope you're all having an awesome night, an awesome day today. What's up, Pro Illusionist? I'm so happy to see you here again, man. Always good to see you. All right, so first things first. You may have all noticed the Kodak hat is no longer on my head. It felt really weird retiring the Kodak hat. Crooked Bangs, hey, how are you? Welcome back. I'm glad you're here again. So, I was just saying, lots of you that watch my videos, you probably have seen the Kodak hat. The Kodak hat started getting a bit messed up, right? It was like unstitching and stuff. It was just getting old. So I thought, why not make a hat? And I sent these hats to get made. Can you guys see that? It's the Undead Gaucho. If you look at the little icon somewhere on the channel in the corner, it's the same icon. Pro Illusionist said, shouldn't we be sleeping, Rick? Hey, Rick, what's up, man? He said, can't resist the Gaucho, though. I can't resist you guys. You know, going live and doing this kind of stuff, it really totally makes my week. Like, I love filmmaking. I love creating content for the channel. But the last 2 weeks have been a little busy in my house. I've had to, change locations, as you guys can see and stuff. But just getting to touch base with you guys on a weekly basis feels really cool. Aaron, what's up? Long-time listener, first-time caller. How does the audio sound, guys? As always, I'm checking with you guys, trusting the audience. Thanks, Pro Illusionist. I was a little worried about it because it feels a little strange wearing, I gotta be honest, wearing your logo, right, like on your hat. I like the Kodak hat. It's somebody told me on Twitter that the Kodak hat was iconic. And I was like, oh, I guess, yeah. Crooked Bank said, I like the hat. Thanks. All right, so enough about my hat. I just wanted to clear it up for those of you that have seen me with, with the Kodak hat. The Kodak hat will come back, I promise. The hats are going to change up, especially with this quarantine here that's been going on. If you've been following me for a long time, you'll know that before this whole quarantine started, I had like a clean cut kind of hairstyle always. When I was younger, I had long hair, so I kind of felt like, you know what, I might as well grow it out. I don't think it's that safe or that smart to go get a haircut right now, so it's just growing and growing. Sooner or later, I'm going to have to cut it, though. It's getting a little crazy. All right, guys. So thank you guys for joining me, first of all. It means the world to me that you're here tonight. So for some of you, it's late. Let me know what part of the world you guys are on. So the first thing I think we should do before we kick this off, we start talking, is take the link for this live, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it on any social media platforms that you guys use in order to get more people in here so that we have more people in the live chat talking to us and we can grow, the community and grow the discussion. Hey, the Signal. Man, yeah, Pro Illusionist said, my boy, the Signal is up in here. He's also my boy. He's a friend of the channel. If you guys haven't checked out his work, he's got a Redbubble shop, and he does these really cool Nimitz, like Tic Tac themed theme pieces. So make sure to check him out. Almost midnight there, man. Well, that's what I'm saying. Anytime you guys come in here and join me for this kind of stuff, I'm honored. Holy Noel, welcome back. All right, so let's kick it off. Haim is probably how you say it. I said Haim Eshed and the Galactic Federation, right? A lot of you have probably been seeing on UFO Twitter and just online what's going on and how everything is kind of all over the place at this moment, if you ask me. We started back with the with the debrief dropping, and then them releasing articles, and then that photo of what everyone is saying is a Batman balloon coming out. Then then we had James Fox and Valet on the Joe Rogan podcast the other day. And now, in the mainstream media, this article is floating around about this, what is he, an Israeli, he's got so many titles, and his credentials are so long that I'm like forgetting here. But the thing is, he's said to be a former Israeli space chief, right? When I first saw the article, I was kind of like, okay, just because if you've been looking into this subject for a very long time, this idea of the Galactic Federation and these beings having a pact, or these occupants having a pact with the world's governments to basically so the governments could get tech, has existed, right? You have the Eisenhower legend where supposedly Eisenhower signed a treaty. Then you have, for me, it roots from there, right? It roots from that Eisenhower treaty thing. Then you have cases of like beings actually supposedly being in the White House, like Valiant Thor. But there is one thing that was bothering me, guys. So tonight, before I keep going, it is very hot in Argentina. And like I said, I changed rooms 2 lives ago. I asked you guys if you could hear the air conditioner because it was so hot. Tonight, there's no air conditioner in this room. So if you see me getting sweaty, it's because it's hot in Argentina. This is where I'm south of the border. Let me check out the live chat before we continue, because I feel like this is going to be a long discussion on my end, just because I feel like I have a lot to say about what's going on here with this. The Signal said, pro-illusionists, we're probably 5% of the people in the UK awake right now. You know what? I love that there's people from the UK in here, and I love that there's people from all over the world in the live chat. And it just shows that, again, like I always say, this is a global phenomenon. This is a phenomenon affects everyone. It's not just, the United States or, hotspot areas. It's the whole world. This is something that affects the whole planet and the whole species, the whole human race, basically. Oh, look, it looks like there's somebody here from Buenos Aires. He's saying, hace mucho calor en Buenos Aires. He's basically saying, yeah, it's hot in Buenos Aires. What's up, Diego? But yeah, it's hot. So forgive me, guys. Take your shirt off and stay a while. That will never happen. No, not even if a big studio paid me a bunch of money to be in some film or something, that wouldn't happen. But the Netherlands, what's up? All the way from the Netherlands. Canada, awesome. Joey, DC. Okay, so I brought this topic up just because when I read the story, I looked at the guy's credentials, right? Haim, I looked at his credentials. I read the articles. Then I read a article, maybe you guys have seen it, that was shared on Reddit, that somebody basically translated the whole article. And it's stuff that I've heard in the past, right? This idea of the Galactic Federation being here to help us and guide us. But this idea that we aren't ready for the truth, because we don't understand space and spacecraft, which is something that keeps getting brought up in these articles. To me, it kind of bothered me a little bit, because I was thinking, first of all, if you were a highly intelligent species or a race that was interacting with us, and you really wanted to help us, and there wasn't just some sort of interest on your part. Now, let me clarify, guys, before I continue on this speech, I'm not saying that I 100% believe this idea that there are extraterrestrials that have signed a contract with the government leaders of the world and they're trading tech and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about this idea, right? If they were highly intelligent beings, back to what I was saying, and they had any sense of any sort of emotion or any sort of understanding of life, respect for life. And they looked at our species and they looked at the craziness. And 2020 is a great example of craziness. The world has been turned upside down on its head, right? This year has been bonkers. I've never lived anything like this. I have a mask on when I go outside. We have to stay away from people. There are people dying every single day. And now there's articles being spread around on mainstream platforms saying that the Galactic Federation of Light doesn't believe that it's time for us to know the truth, which also contradicts itself because there's an article being spread around. So if anyone read that article and they believe it, then they probably already know that the Galactic Federation exists. But I might be saying light and throwing that in here, but I feel like that just stuck with me from all the other stuff I've ever heard regarding this sort of group. So let me check out the live chat, because I feel like if I don't look at the live chat, I'm gonna just get distracted and talk. So Holy Noel said, I mean, because it's hot, we can only see your neck. That's true. I could take off my shirt because you can only see my neck, but I think I'll be like the craziest UFO channel ever if somebody like clicked over and saw a dude in a trucker hat with a beard and long hair and no t-shirt. It wouldn't help for what we're trying to get across here. Now, Ethereal Aura says, a galactic federation, sure, possible. Humans not ready. Mwah. A species making deals with the U.S. and Israel, probably not. Now, one thing, again, that bothered me here about this was it wasn't just the U.S. and Israel. It was like, basically the idea was that these beings had made a treaty and are working with, I think it was the U.S., Japan, and just other, global, like the superpowers or the more important countries. And I literally look into this phenomenon. I dedicate so much time to try to figure this out, to help myself grow to the point where I realize that we are not alone in the universe, right? We are not alone in reality. We may not even understand how beautiful and how magical reality is. And I feel like that will bring me closer to all of you and to everyone on the planet, on our planet, on planet Earth. And this is coming from a guy that is not I'm not an activist. I'm not like the kind of person you would think would have these kinds of thoughts. But I feel like it's just common sense, right? We are all the same species. We're all humans. Behind that skin, behind that culture that you've been impregnated into your mind, we are all flesh and bone. Give me 1 second, guys. Do not, the battery on the PC is running low. 1 sec. All right. We are back. Sorry about that. And there is a lag on the live, so I'm still looking at you guys not seeing anything, but I'm back. And I guess let me jump, because now I got distracted. For some reason, I guess the PC, the laptop wasn't plugged in, and I was about to lose you guys. Don't want that to happen. So let me check out the live chat again. Pro Illusionist said there could be hundreds of federations. And I think that is something that, of course, could be very possible. But I think this idea of a federation is what really started bothering me. This idea that there are leaders, global leaders, deciding the fate of me, you, our future children, their children, how this phenomenon interacts with them. This idea that, because some people were like, oh wow, that's awesome, yeah, the Galactic Federation, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't want to go from living in a world under a ruler under a so-called leader to go to another leader that's an extraterrestrial or somebody from off the planet. And honestly, the first thing I think, if I had a chance to ask an extraterrestrial or these occupants, I would ask them what the abduction phenomenon is all about and how they justify taking people against their will and, scarring them and putting them through those procedures. That's the first thing I would ask them. And I would be very, very cautious and very tentative to what they were going to say to me. Because if they ever said, first of all, well, we talked to your political leaders and they signed a treaty for tech and that's why we do it, I would say, well, obviously you are not as evolved as you think you are. Because for you to ever take that gamble, take that trade, you have no concept of our, of rights, of human rights, or rights of life. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I feel like I'm gonna go into this deep tangent, and I hope you guys can bear with me. So let me check out the live chat again. Sofa, what's up, man? Welcome back. He said it should rather be said that the whole cosmos dwells in this our land, as in its sanctuary. Lament of Hermes, prophecy of Thoth. Thank you for throwing that quote in there. Good job, man. Oh, Jazz, what's up, man? He said the aliens clearly don't want you to talk to us. And so the first thing I did, obviously, because I started seeing these articles popping up, and I found this article where there was a literal Twitter account, right? And there was people hashtagging the Galactic Federation of Light. And the first thing I did was look, if this is probably a troll account, it's most likely 99.9% not an extraterrestrial being with a Twitter account. But I'm going to throw a tweet out there, see if they respond. See what kind of response I get, right? Not even trying to be Starkey or start any beef, but I was just like, look, if this is all going to be a joke, right? All this work that we're doing, all this research that we're doing, if this is all going to fall to to some kind of, I don't know, a joke is the only way I could think of it. I don't think that the concept, the idea that is being presented by Haim Eshed, that has been presented in the past, is not I guess it's not a possibility. I'm saying if it is a possibility, if the governments of the world have ever signed a treaty and there's this secret treaty and pact for them to trade our freedom for tech, then we're all screwed, honestly, because that would mean that it doesn't, aliens and all this stuff can exist, extraterrestrials and UFOs, and the universe may be bigger, but we're still living under the constructs, these limitations that tell us, well, you have a leader and you need to listen to your leader. Even if something comes from outside of the universe that helps you see how beautiful and how amazing, how vast this reality is that you live in, you still need to follow the constructs of your earthly leader. Oh, now I'm sweating again, guys. I'm going to look back at the live chat because I feel like I'm going to head in a direction where some people might not enjoy what I'm saying. But of course, guys, remember, I said it before. I've said it 100 times. There will be times where I step in a pothole, where I go down the wrong rabbit hole, have the wrong approach. And that's why you guys are here in the live chat. So you guys can share your thoughts and opinions with me, and that might change my approach. Let me see. Let's see. Crooked Bangs. She says, how can you decipher between a true ET abduction and a MyLab abduction? We don't know for sure these ET have been hostile towards us. Now, Crooked Bangs, I agree. I've made lots of videos, lots of content talking about how it seems that the phenomenon has a yin and a yang aspect, where there are negative encounters, there are positive encounters, there are people like, Stephen Greer, who says, just to throw somebody off the top of my head, who says that this phenomenon is here to, to help us, that it's only here to help us. But then there are people like Travis Walton that have a bad experience, right? And then they later in life, like Travis now thinks that the occupants actually saved his life because he got too close to the craft. And then you have cases like the Colares case in Brazil, right, where it seems like the craft were actually physically affecting people by shooting beams at them. And you have lots of cases of people just being scarred and having negative interactions where there are not human beings present. And then there are cases where people are scared out of their minds. They're inside of a craft, surrounded by other abductees, and there are aliens or the common gray walking around, and there seems to be humans. That's part of too why I keep bringing this back up, but because it just seems like people don't ever think about it. But that's why I bring up, why do these beings have jumpsuits on? Why do they have track suits? Like one-piece suits. I don't think a one-piece suit is a good one, but you know what I mean. They have coveralls on in a lot of cases. There's even cases where they have emblems that resemble stuff that you'd see in the military, and it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And this idea that the beings don't believe that we're evolved enough to receive their help and to get that technology and take us to that next level is what I brought up in an older video talking about why I think the phenomenon does not want disclosure, right? The phenomenon, in my opinion, does not want disclosure, because if they are so highly advanced, if they can't create these craft that have these amazing observables, then why can't they decipher a way to make contact with an inferior species like ours? And of course, people always bring up this same argument that if they wanted to wipe us out, if they wanted to, destroy us, they already would have. Which is more of a reason why I think if they really wanted to think of a way to openly land, make contact with our whole race, our whole species, and let us know that we are not alone, that there is much more than, the politics that you watch on television. There's much more than what we see here on this planet out there. They could. I mean, that's just after years of looking into this. And it's not because I wanted to come to that conclusion. It's because logically over time, I just came to that conclusion because people are so worried about the governments keeping this secret. But I think the most worrisome thing would be that the phenomenon itself, for some reason, needs to keep the secret. Whatever reason there is between the interaction between us and them that we've had for all these years. Maybe something much darker, or something so simple that will make us, there'd be no reason to tell us, Lots of people use the ant analogy, where they talk about a kid stepping on an anthill. If the kid told you that the real reason was something dark, that's why if you were the ant and he told you, hey, I'm stepping on this anthill because I want to see the total destruction, or I just want to rip you guys apart. But the kid might not even care. Like, both of the ideas are so negative. Like, the kid not even caring about stepping on the anthill, and then the kid burning the ants with the magnifying glass. Both those ideas are negative. So yeah, let me look back at the live chat, because I knew this was going to happen. Because last night I was sitting back thinking about, Paul Hellyer, the ex Minister of Defense for Canada, coming out talking about this same kind of idea that there are beings interacting and working with us that have been working with the governments. And I was thinking about this new story that's coming up that's literally making the rounds. I can't believe this story is making the rounds. Let me see. Jazz says, as I reported today, author of the book Haim Eshed's comments says Jewish newspaper that published those quotes lied or at least massively misquoted Eshed. The article needs more examination. Well, I agree. You know, I actually saw an article a minute ago before we went live that kind of said the same thing. Also, like the person that was interviewing Haim was a fiction writer, if I'm not mistaken. So, of course, guys, there's always this, you know, we always have to look deeper, dig deeper. Jazz is making a perfect point, you know. The article needs more examination. Just like the other day when that picture of the cube shaped or the triangle, you know, the triangle shaped craft, the cube craft came out. I think the picture needs more examination before we start. Whoever found that Batman balloon that looked exactly the same, I think the craziest part about all that is, like, if it is a Batman balloon, isn't it crazy that somebody online found it and the Department of Defense is sharing the picture around and nobody realized it was that Batman balloon? I don't know. I personally am not siding with the Batman balloon idea, but that's me. Shadows of Your Mind, The Ended Gaucho. This Michael Sala wet dream got more coverage than the actual photo drop from Debrief last week. Shows how the mainstream continues to ridicule the subject. I mean, but we really can't. What can we do, guys? We have to have these kinds of conversations. We have to have these kinds of talks. You know, I need you guys here, like Jazz, you, Shadows of Your Mind, all of you guys, Crooked Bangs, Sofa, everybody in here. You, Dylan, what's up, man? You guys all need to push this idea forward, right? That you're right. That photo, I feel like, was much more important than this story. And the crazy thing is that people are going to read this story. I saw it on MSNBC or something like that yesterday, right? And I know they're going to keep sharing this story around. The craziest part for me, right, the part that was bothering me most is that some people were okay with this idea of having basically intergalactic alien overlords, because it's like, at the end of the day, you know the government's going to sell you for tech, right? If that's the whole idea. And what does that mean about us? What does that mean about how important we are? I understand that in this earthly plane and how we live in our day-to-day life and how society treats us and the world we live in, we aren't that important, right? Wars get started by rich men and they get ended by the peasants. And that's why, you know, I feel all the people that, all the servicemen and servicewomen out there, you know, I take my cap off to you guys. And all the people, and even the people that are not servicemen and servicewomen, that are just mixed in that whole mess. You know, sometimes I think about the people that other people think are the enemy, right? You know, you don't know who the good guy is. It all depends on which end of the barrel you're standing on. But I don't want to talk about war. Let's look back at the live chat. Pro Illusionist, best thing to do is leak something outlandish like this article to bring it back to ridicule, to stop the disclosure train in its tracks. I've been thinking too recently. I don't want to get all conspiracy crazy on you guys or anything like that, right? I'm trying to always stay grounded, always stay level-headed. But we know about Richard Doty. We know that disinformation programs and different disinformation has existed in the past, right? For us, and if you don't realize that social media platforms like Twitter, like all the social media that we use, can be used very easily as a platform of disinformation, and it does get used that way, and it's blatant. And if you pay attention to it, if you pay a little attention to it, you can see it. But yeah, we have to make sure to keep on the right track, to not get the story twisted. The first thing I did was, like I said, I started tweeting out to these people that were saying they were the Galactic Federation. Is it possible that extraterrestrials could use social media and the internet to interact with us? I mean, why not? I think that could be possible. I think it's kind of a crazy thing to think about, but I didn't expect to get any tweets back from an extraterrestrial, which is why if you guys were following me on Twitter yesterday, I was kind of dropping some tweets left and right on this. But let me check out the live chat again. Zignal says the timing is strange. He says it's intriguing, isn't it? I mean, yeah, but we have to try and stay, keep your mind on the ball, keep your mind in focus. Don't let these crazy it's not, I mean, the thing is, it's not that crazy. We've heard it a bunch of times, this idea, this concept, right? I was saying Paul Hellyer. The first time I heard Paul Hellyer, the Canadian ex-minister of defense, right? Is that correct me if I'm wrong, but that's who he is. The first time I heard him speak, I was like, my eyes were wide open listening to what he was saying. Later, after looking into it a little bit, I realized that he was probably getting his information from books that he read. He wasn't like a first-hand witness with what was going on. He was just sort of relaying what he saw in articles and books, which is basically when I read 5 or 6 of these Haim Eshed articles, and that was also what kept coming up. It wasn't like he face-to-face experienced this, like he didn't have a sit-down meeting with the Galactic Federation. It was like he had the articles and the books to prove it, supposedly. But a lot of people could come at you with that. At the end of the day, that's why I feel it's so important to really take experiencers and abductees and hear their stories and really, really understand where they're coming from. And also understand that in that person's mind, in that person's past or their history, they may have seen something that could get us closer to the truth. They may have experienced something that could help us put a piece into this puzzle. I understand research is important. Reading books is important because you learn, from other experiencers. But hearing it and seeing it in the eyes of the experiencer, hearing it come from their mouth, I feel like that is so important. And it's why I try so hard, so often, to let abductees and experiencers know at least they can trust in me. They can talk to me. And I hope that you guys do the same thing. Jazz says, he's talking to the Signal. He says, excellent question. I'm not saying there's nothing to the underlining story, but we need to dig deeper. I think we're all on the same page there. Let me see what the question was. The Shadows of Your Mind said, CIA used to infiltrate UFO groups back in the 50s and 60s. No reason why they aren't all over social media too. It's kind of crazy to think about. Who is on UFO Twitter that's doing that? Do you guys think you know who it is? I don't know. All I try to do is when I see the information presented to me, I try my best to not let it sway me, not let it kick me off course. And we all need to do the same thing. So how are you guys doing tonight? What do you guys think of the discussion so far? I was a little worried about this one because I was like, I'm going to bounce all over the place. Because last night and today when I was seeing all the comments and this whole wave of people that were talking about it, and I was just really bothered by the idea behind it, right? Which is funny because in the past, when I was younger and I read the Eisenhower legend, it didn't hit me like that, right? It didn't bother me that way. But now that I'm older and I've looked at this so much and I don't know, it's just like, if that ever happens, if the government ever signs a treaty and we don't know about it and they're trading tech with these beings, and these beings are just sitting there letting everything that's happening on this planet to continue to happen because they think we're not intelligent enough to understand it, and they're not willing to educate us and help us, then we are in big trouble. The Signal. That's funny, man. Potential CIA. UFO Jesus. UFO Jesus is That would be funny. That would not. He wouldn't match the profile. UFO Jesus. If you guys aren't checking out, what is the Disclosure World channel? Make sure to check it out. You'll see UFO Jesus. He's great. He does good videos. I like his take. I like how serious he is about the topic. You know, how much he cares about the topic. Julian Watson said, just because they can. Perfect cover to keep foreign enemies thinking the U.S. is too stupid and incompetent to make any significant progress in the study of UFOs and the related phenomenon. Look, think about where we are right now, right? So we have this Stephen Greer idea that the UFOs come in peace. They're here to help us. Then we have TTSA, you know, sort of highlighting this possible threat idea. And now we have this person that is circling the news talking about the Galactic Federation. I'm saying we're living in some crazy times. 2020 is some crazy times. Let me look at the live chat again. I want to see what you guys are talking about. The Half-Truth 509. To be honest, I'm pissed and angry that this Galactic Fed is getting so much attention and dragging genuine UFO research back to the gutter after the good progress that was being made. Exactly, man. That's literally what was bothering me. Of course, there are some communities that are isolated from direct influence by the intel community, but I bet some are directly influenced and even moderated. Andrew Hall said, I think you're on point, man. Thanks, Andrew. I don't get why people are all over this story. Seems to me people would have enough sense to demand proof of such a bold claim. Yeah, totally. You know, something too that over the years I've kind of learned. Sometimes there is no proof. There's going to be moments, guys, where we have our backs against the wall and we're trying to figure something out. And in your gut, you might feel like this is the right thing to believe in, right? This is real. That is a real case. And it's unfortunate that this phenomenon is so alien. It's so unexplained that there are going to be cases that we come across that may be very, very, very real that do not have proof. And we'll never have proof, and we'll never see it. So always keep that, you know, it's kind of like a roll of the dice too. You know, that's why I always say mistakes will be made when you're looking into this alien unexplained phenomenon. You will go down the wrong path. You will look in the wrong direction. But very good point, man. Andrew, thank you. Let's see, Aaron Desario. Don't be too hard on TTSA. They're just using the threat to get people to pay attention. Aaron, look, I'm totally on board with TTSA. Like I said, I think that it's very possible that the UFO phenomenon could be a threat. I see that. You know, it's logical to see that. And like I said, there are cases where it seemed like the UFO phenomenon had negative effects on people. And really just the abduction phenomenon, this is what I don't get. Right? People talk about this military threat invading the airspace. But guys, the abduction phenomenon is a threat. It's a threat to your freedom. It's a threat to your rights, your human rights. I would hate for, like, if I was an abductee and I knew that tomorrow when I had a kid, he was going to be an abductee because it seems like it rolls through your bloodline. You know, if you don't have a choice, there's lots of volunteer programs around the world. Humans volunteer for stuff, especially for the greater good. But if you're taken against your will and you're taken whenever you want and you have bad experiences, I mean, that's a threat to me. Now, am I saying that every single close encounter is like that and all these beings and occupants have the same agenda or the same idea about our species? No. I'm saying it's possible that some of them do see us as a resource or just as a, you know, petri dish. Let's see. Let me look back at the live chat. Crooked Bank says remote viewers have seen bases on Mars. I did a whole video on, forgetting his name, McMonagle. Was it Jim McMonagle? But it's McMonagle for sure. Remote viewer that said that he saw, remnants of past life on Mars, right? And consciousness is a trip. The human mind, that's what I'm saying. If we really want to, if you really want to see how amazing everything is, that's why understanding and accepting the UFO phenomenon and getting, going down those rabbit holes, I feel like takes you to this consciousness, this area of trying to figure out how human consciousness really plays a game in this reality, how it affects the reality that we live in. So I've looked into remote viewing. I've looked into, telekinesis and psychic powers and all this kind of stuff because of the UFO phenomenon, because of looking into the UFO phenomenon. And I do think there's a huge link between the UFO phenomenon and consciousness. Mickle in a pickle. What's up, man? He said the only positive thing about his claim is that he's getting us all talking about it. That's the only positive thing, I guess, for us, Mickle. But thing is, a lot of people are going to take that story, they're going to run with it. And the moment any of this, I feel like this story hit the pages and just lit on fire, started spreading all over the place. And I feel like they're going to figure out, they're going to find leaks, they're going to find holes in this story because there's got to be some. And then they're going to flip it all on us and say like, oh, UFO community, they believe this and that and this and that. Instead of looking at credible cases, instead of looking at real situations, real where we really are right now with this. I'm surprised that Tom DeLonge hasn't said anything about it, or TTSA at all hasn't spoken on it, and no other real, other than Grant Cameron, I haven't seen anybody else really speaking about Haim and his claims. Let me scroll down. Thank you guys, man, again for being here. I hope I'm not rambling on too much. I hope you guys are enjoying this this discussion. Joe McMonagle. Thank you, Andrew. I should have searched it. I have the keyboard right here. Joe McMonagle was the one that did remote viewing for this. There's a CIA document. I made a whole video about it. And I read through the whole document with visuals and stuff. It's pretty interesting. It's fascinating stuff. It's crazy the things that the governments of the world have really looked into. Psychic spies and all this kind of stuff. That's really what keeps me going. There's certain moments, guys, where I've hit a brick wall. There's certain moments where I've felt like I can't do this anymore. This rabbit hole's gotten way too deep. But those little nuggets that I find along the way, along the trail, that's what just makes me keep digging, keep searching. Dan, what's up, man? Glad to be here. I'm glad you're here, Dan. Honestly. Crooked Bank said it's hard to get past how credible Eshed is. I agree. The first thing that I thought when I read the article was, wow, look how credible this guy is. But I also didn't do any research on him, right? I know some other people did. I read some articles, and I saw that people were kind of trying to back that up. But also, we must also take into consideration that just because you are credible and just because you have a important background doesn't mean that you might have the wrong approach to something. Just think about how many people credible people. That's something that has always kind of bothered me too, about how we approach witnesses and this kind of stuff. Obviously somebody that is unhealthy or out of their mind, or anyone that just doesn't seem all there. You have to see that. It's any people that I've met throughout my life that have been, unhealthy or unstable. I could see it. But this idea that because somebody has a credible background, that they're not going to make the wrong decision or maybe confabulate something or, hey, just speak out of context or say the wrong things. I think it's something that we need to try to retract a little bit. We need to give the baker the benefit of the doubt. We need to give the butcher the benefit of the doubt, not always the sergeant generals, because sometimes sergeant generals are not all there. I mean, that's what I'm saying. How many credible people have you met in your life that you were like, wow, this person's kind of has some crazy thoughts in their head, or a crazy view on reality. Andrew Hall said, next time you feel like you hit a wall, call me, dude. We'll do a podcast and rocket that ship to the next level. Definitely, man. If you guys haven't checked out Andrew Hall's podcast, Andrew, shout out the name of your podcast again. Feel free, man, in the live chat always. You guys should check him out. I'm gonna go on the podcast, I promise. I've just been a little caught up, like I said earlier, guys, with life kind of stuff. So I promise to go on that podcast, Andrew. Dan said, I just heard about the Israeli gentleman and the Galactic Federation. Any evidence? Dan, read all the articles, man. I've been talking about it for how long have we've been going now? 47 minutes. Holy Noel, deathbed confessions, truth be told. Joey B said, TTSA does not want to be associated with it, and I don't blame them. Dead Hand Radio, that's Andrew's podcast. There we go. Make sure to check it out, guys. Dylan O said, a good thing to remember is we know that most of the evidence, especially the good stuff, with the most qualified observers are hidden. Yeah. I mean, I just have this thing, right? Like I said earlier, guys, like I said a minute ago, Dylan, like there are going to be highly credible observers and witnesses and abductees and experiencers, but there's also going to be like a kid, an 11-year-old kid that doesn't have anybody that's going to listen to him, that might have had the craziest close encounter that would just put all these other close encounters in the trash bin. I'm saying his experience was so vivid or so real, or he just has all this data that he can share with us, and because he's not a 5-star general or a pilot or somebody in the military, we're not going to believe him. And that's a waste. That's a waste of somebody's experience and somebody's story. Nobody's story is a waste. Nobody's experience is a waste. We're like, imagine if I had a close encounter tomorrow. How unfortunate would it be if I tried to share that? I think you guys may believe me. Hey, Julie, what's up? But I feel like most people wouldn't. And I think that just in the narrative that we're in right now, even in the UFO community, the direction we're heading, and we're looking for these credible witnesses, which is great, and they've really helped take us to a new plateau, a new platform, right? A new level in this. But we can't forget the average guys. We can't forget the average Joes, the average people out there. They are very, very important in all this. They are very important. Dylan O said, yep, I feel it personally. My experiences mean nothing except that I might be insane to some people. Dylan, you're not insane, man. You just wrote a bunch of messages on here. I can see you can literally, you can have a conversation. You're not insane. And don't think that about yourself. Dylan said, and I'm trying to seek out more info, other experiencers to learn more. Then I realized we're all in the dark, and I already know much of what there is to find out. Dan said, it's interesting how we're waiting on the U.S. to disclose when it could be any nation. Well, that's why, Dan, I made one of the last videos about the disclosure president, why I think there will never be a disclosure president. One, because there is not a global power that speaks for the whole planet, right? That information won't just be disclosure for the U.S., it'll be disclosure for the whole world. But yeah, I agree, Dan. It's interesting. It's unfortunate too if we're waiting for a disclosure president and there's some 11-year-old with all the information we've ever needed. He's just like has all the truth that we've ever needed to find, and we just don't care because we're waiting for a president to tell us. One of the things the Galactic Federation troll account said to me yesterday was, let me try and find it. Let me see if I can find what he said to me. Basically along the realms of like, you have a leader and you elected your leader. And your leader made a treaty with us, and that's why, obviously it's a troll account. He's just trying to respond to me because I was egging them on. But the first thing I responded to him was, I don't have a leader. Personally, I lived in the U.S. and now I live in Argentina. And the one thing that I realized when I came here was this whole divide, this whole idea of, right wing, left wing. I don't want to get into politics, but you know what I'm talking about. This whole divide that there is in the States, it exists all over the world. And we're all divided, and we're all arguing and bickering over the same thing, because at the end of the day, we're all going to go back. We're all going to turn back into stardust. You know what I mean? We're all going to get put under the dirt. So my only leader in reality is my mind, and what I believe. I don't have like a physical leader. Somebody that I would say, okay. So he signed over my freedom? Perfect. You can take it. I believe everything he says. I will, follow him till the ends of the earth. No. It's me and the day I have kids or, my family. And that's it. I don't have a leader. Personally, I don't. Let me check out the live chat again. I love it, man. You guys are having so many conversations in there. As I do this more and more, I'm realizing it is hard to keep up with you guys sometimes. Julian Watson says, sorry for just butting in, guys. I just recently subscribed to the Gaucho after seeing him on Jay's Project Unity. I like the lively discussion. You guys seem like a solid community. There you go. There you go, guys. Make sure to treat Julian nicely. That was an awesome comment. Sorry. Contracts demand full disclosure to be valid. I'm not keeping up. Julie said each person is their own leader unless they give their will away. There we go, Jules. That's what I'm saying. Each person is their own leader, but we say that, but there are some people out there that they have a leader. I'm just saying personally, I don't have a leader. So if an extraterrestrial race were ever to tell me, hey, your leader gave me rights to you, I'd be like, no, he didn't. Sorry. Jazz said to Julian, he said, always a good conversation here. Man, thank you. Thank you, Jazz. I'm glad, man. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed these conversations. Before I started doing these lives, I was real nervous. I never thought I'd be able to do this. I watched Richard Dolan a lot. Have you guys seen Richard Dolan's latest upload recently? It was really good. I liked at the end how he was kind of touching on how we're moving into this this new world where everything is controlled by technology. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but we've known that forever, guys. This Orwellian society was going to happen, like it or not. That's why you need to have a free mind. You need to always have a free mind. Julian, I'm glad, Julian, that everyone's welcoming you, man. That's awesome. Thank you guys for doing that. That's the kind of vibes we need in this community. I hate seeing negativity and hatred in the community. It just drives me up the walls. Sofa says, I wonder if aliens have their own dinosaurs, or if they saw us digging up fossils and they thought, oh, damn, we should try that back home. uh, that's a trip, guys. Not even let's just not even talking about the UFO phenomenon for a minute. The idea that we're all okay with the concept of dinosaurs living on this planet before we were here, I think it's a trip that we're just like living through life, just like, oh yeah, look at my iPhone. When before there were like pterodactyls and T-Rexes and all this kind of crazy, these giant animals, these giant reptiles walking around. You know what I mean? It's kind of a trip, and it's part of what inspired me too, as a real young kid, to look into the unexplained and high strangeness. Because for me, that was like high strangeness. As soon as I saw books about dinosaurs, I was like, wait a minute, why is there dragons? You're telling me dragons were real? I just remember being real little thinking that to myself, and then that spawned out into looking at, Bigfoot, and then looking into aliens and all this kind of stuff. So 56 minute, guys. 56 minutes we've been chatting away. The signal said, faster alone, further together. Yeah. We got to work together in this community, man. We really do. We got to watch each other's backs too. We got to try not to bicker, not to fight. It's not going to help anybody. Holy Noel said, dinos are still here. They're just much smaller. Yeah, pigeons. Except for those humongous gators in Florida. Humongous. Sofa said, yeah, millions of years of monsters. Yeah, some beautiful monsters, though. What I'd pay to ride a T-Rex. The Half-True 509 said, James Fox said he had been in touch with a PI looking into that great vid footage. Has anyone here any news on tracking down these guys? What video footage are you talking about, 509? The signal said, dragons are real. Welshman here. Dan says, when it comes to time, the thought that we are conscious at this point in time. When it comes to time, the thought that we are conscious at this point in time. It's crazy. It is. Signal said, that's a Welsh flag. Sorry. No, don't worry, Signal. Jazz said, sorry. I just stumbled over my words. Man, in-laws have arrived. Gotta run. Thanks for the chat, folks. Thank you for being here, Jazz. Have a good night, man. Julian said, did anyone catch the Black Vault and Greenwald on the debrief and the Batman hypothesis? I did not. I did not catch them. Was there like a podcast or something? Or are you talking about the articles that dropped out? That came out? All right, guys. So it's been a crazy few days, though, if you think about it. What did you guys think of Valet and James Fox on Joe Rogan? Did you guys all see that? I loved it. Lots of people were saying that they felt like Valet was sort of not really going into depth on his theories, right, with Joe, or he was like evading questions or not giving good answers. But I was just saying, the first thing I thought was, imagine Valet talking to 10 million people and just dropping a Valet theory right on your head. Some of those people are not going to be ready for that at all. I think he did a great job. People are going to look into Valet. They're going to check out his new book, right? They're going to look at his old work. And if they haven't seen the phenomenon, they're going to watch the phenomenon. So for me, it was a good move to have Valet and James Fox on there. Was it that James Fox read something that Chris Mellon sent him and he wasn't supposed to read it? I think I retweeted something that Chris Mellon put out the other day about that. Like he didn't think James Fox was going to read it. Valet, the Signal said Valet has a higher standard of proof than Joe. He does. I mean, Valet is one of the legends. He's a juggernaut, for real. Valet is somebody that, if I could say, hey, teach me everything you know, show me everything you know, I would definitely do that with Valet. Joey B said rambling. Who was rambling? Valet was rambling, or Julie said Rogan was good. Holy Noel said, I don't watch Joe Rogan. He insulted me about my abduction, laughed and blocked me quite a while back. Oh, that's terrible. I didn't know that. Well, that's messed up. If you have, did you screenshot that or anything? I don't know. You know, people can be real rude, man, real mean. Hey, look over there. That's a cool username. Cameron says he has a tape that backs up the pact. I listened to that tape. We're going back now. We're talking about the Haim Eshed and the Galactic Federation. I listened to the tape that Cameron put out there. It's on SoundCloud. And I think he's using like a medium. And they're talking about... you guys heard the tape, I'm sure. I'm sure Jules heard it. But we've heard this Galactic Federation stuff from a lot of the mediums out there. You know, I've heard that we've all heard this idea before. It wouldn't be weird to hear the same kind of idea come back up. Dylan O said, I haven't watched it, but I think Valet wasn't able to really talk because we're in kind of a limbo between science and hypothesis at the moment. Dylan, you know, I think you might have a point there. Make sure to watch it though, because if he did talk, it just, some people were kind of like, oh well, he didn't really say anything. Again, I come back to this idea that, guys, we spent our lives researching this. Valet's probably not going to drop a bombshell on me or you, you know, unless he comes out with something completely out of the blue. But he is going to drop a bombshell on every other normal person out there. So yeah. Let me scroll down. You guys are tearing away at the live chat. Thank you guys, man. Love to see you guys here. Holy Noel said it really hurt. So I'm sure she's talking about what you said about Joe Rogan. Man, I'm sorry. And you said, no, it doesn't matter. It matters. Just, you know, you don't forget that. And tell people that when you talk to people. Now, I'm a listener of Joe Rogan's podcast, but I mean, that's messed up. So make sure to share that with people. Julie said, mean people suck. Mean people suck. They do. Especially bullies. Bullies suck. And lots of people are mean until they come across somebody that's a lot meaner. And then they're not that mean anymore. Julian Watson said, Joe did a great job trying to clarify Valet on some of the more esoteric elements for those who don't follow the community like we all do. That's positive. Julian, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Joe was like, it was like a normal guy talking to Jack Valet, but actually trying to like grasp what Valet is saying, but also like not let him stray away to where someone might hear it and disregard it because it just seems too out there. So yeah. Andrew Hall said, I haven't heard that tape. I really don't listen to a lot of media. I'm assuming you're talking about the Grant Cameron tape. I mean, it's like a 2 or 4 minute tape. It's really not that. For me, it didn't do anything for me at all. Just because I know, like, the Galactic Federation people have been talking about that for years. So, Dan said, true. We've heard it from others during the Canadian Defense Ministry. The Canadian Defense Minister the ex-Canadian defense minister saying the same thing. That's what I mean. We heard it from them, and I remember hearing it first time from Paul when he dropped that information, and I remember just grabbing my head thinking about it. But he didn't talk about, I don't think he talked about the Galactic Federation. He just said that there were a certain amount of beings interacting with, the governments of the world, and they're here already, which I'm not saying, guys, is this phenomenon is out there. I say it all the time. The truth is much stranger than fiction. So is it possible that could be happening? I don't know. We've seen it throughout UFO history. There is a legend that is circulating about this pact, this treaty, UFOs, aliens, these extraterrestrial occupants. I'm mixing too much stuff in there. These occupants working with the government. But yeah, the signal said, it strikes me that the Galactic Federation is a very human construct too. We know the way we do things isn't the only way, yet most expect an intergalactic government. That's exactly, that was the thing that really bothered me, Signal. Because people were like, oh, okay, great, cool, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, no. I don't need an intergalactic government telling me that I don't have rights. I got that on Earth already. I don't need that coming from somewhere else. And if that is ever the case, we're going to have a rebellion. I'm being honest with you guys. Let's see. Let's check out the live chat. Paul Hellier said something like, we are part of a greater ecosystem. We are. We definitely are. Just look up. If it's nighttime where you are, walk outside and look up. Look around you. We are part of a greater ecosystem. Walter Cornett said, my ET source says the Galactic Federation is controlled by the tall whites and the ovoid grays, who are the Anunnaki, who enslave us and keep us reincarnating on Earth. Look, I'm going to keep digging and searching. Walter, thank you for that message, but I'm going to keep digging and searching. And if there are some physical Anunnaki beings out there, I honestly hope that I come across them one day. You know what I mean? That's what this is all about. I'm wiping my face like crazy, guys. It's hot in here. But yeah, that's what this is all about. And I'm not going to be a slave for anybody. And that's not why I think we need to find the truth. We need to find the truth to break the chains that we've been given by our human counterparts, Joy B said, what I wonder about is why galactic? I'm sure there would be life in other galaxies too. Well, it's just because it's just, I don't know. That's part of the whole thing. I feel like it's not really, it's an idea or a concept that I don't really vibe with. There's too many holes. There's too many, the whole love and light kind of, oh, we're here to help you, but you're just not smart enough, or if you get abducted and you have a bad experience, that's on you. It's because you don't get it. You don't see the bigger picture. I think that's just, it makes no sense. So the Half-True 509 said, I think Valet said a few things that were classified when he talked about talking to Art Lundell about materials. You never know. You might let stuff slip, and there's people out there that just don't pay attention. The Signal said, I'll be by your side on the intergalactic rebellion front lines if that ever happens. Guys, if that ever does happen, there has to be like a rebellion. We can't just be enslaved by a government, then go get enslaved by the phenomenon, which is not what I'm saying, but I'm saying let's just make it very clear that I'm not like, I am fascinated by this subject, but I'm not going to bow down to an extraterrestrial being as a god. I'm not going to let an extraterrestrial, I'd love to have an interaction and to learn and to grow and to, both just have a relationship with a highly advanced, being, but I'm not gonna ever let them use their technology to make me think that they're here. I'm not gonna let them be like the Europeans when they showed up on the beaches with the native tribes, and they started pulling out mirrors and people thought they were gods with magic. I'm not gonna let that happen, personally. Sofa said, he's asking Dylan. He said, Dylan, have you ever read the Shepherd of Hermes? That's pretty cool. I haven't read that, Sofa. Holy Noel said, resistance is futile. It is. I mean, in some cases, resistance is futile. But then what you have to do is figure out how to really strike when the iron's hot. That's it. It's not always about fighting. It's about figuring out when the right moment is. Now I'm just throwing out. Now we're going down a deep rabbit hole. The signal said, any god that asks you to bow is not a god at all. 100%. But we all bow. We all bow. Trust me. I still have marks on my knees probably from the pews. Sofa said, I have a video on the Shepherd of Hermes you might like then. Also, Lively and Poltrich, all Roman. Sofa, send me anything you want to send me. Anytime you think something is important, all of you. Anytime you think there's something important that I should be looking at, send it my way. Definitely. Mike Knapp, what's up, man? I like the rabbit, the white rabbit, and the whole the emoji. All right, guys. So, 1 hour and 12 minutes. The UFO community right now, the UFO subject is we are having all this news, all this crazy stuff has been happening. Like I said, we got to stay grounded. We got to try our best to keep our eye on the ball, keep moving forward. If the Galactic Federation is real and you guys are watching this, just know that I'm still waiting for you. My offer still stands. You can come talk to me. We can have a little one-on-one. But really, in all seriousness, we're doing some great work. The other day, they were talking to Obama about the phenomenon. We had the Rogan thing. We have the debrief sharing the photos, and this whole disclosure process is very real, and it's a process, and it's trickling out, and it's happening. But we got to keep our eye on the ball. Definitely. Speculative Future. He said, hi there. Sorry I'm late to the party. Speculative Future. I'm sorry that you're late, my friend. But I'm glad you're here. Actually, that doesn't make any sense. It's okay. You can be late. Sorry. But I actually think I have to go, guys. It is very, very hot in this room in Buenos Aires. And the conversation has been great. You guys are all awesome. If you dig the hat, let me know. Make sure to give me, thumbs up the video. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you have friends that are into this subject and you think I'm a cool guy that they would like, share my videos with them. Contact me. Send me DMs on Twitter. I'm a cool guy. You can talk to me anytime you want to talk to me. And we will talk soon, guys. You guys were all awesome. Thank you for being here from all parts of the world. Ryan, thank you for being here, man. I like that. And good night, guys. We will talk very, very soon.